Despite those who may say otherwise, we have actually known the shape of the Earth to be a globe far earlier in our history than many of you may have realized. With this in mind, it brings up a few questions that this video aims to explain. First of all, who was the first person to prove that the Earth's surface is curved? How were people in ancient times able to prove that the surface of the Earth is curved? And why do some still believe that the Earth is flat to this day? It is a popular myth that Christopher Columbus set out to prove that the Earth is round by sailing across the world to Asia. The truth is, the idea of Earth being a globe was already widely accepted at this point. Columbus actually believed that the circumference of the Earth was way smaller than it actually was. Thus, he believed that he could sail to Asia by crossing the Atlantic Ocean instead of taking the already known routes. The problem, of course, is that there was a whole another continent in the way. So if Columbus wasn't the first one to prove that the Earth is round, then who really was the first one to prove it? The earliest written records of this idea of the Earth being a sphere come from the 6th century BCE, from ancient Greece, particularly the writings of Pythagoras, who simply thought that if the moon was round, then the Earth must be round too. Although Pythagoras did not have conclusive evidence, other philosophers and mathematicians began to share this idea during this time period. The writings of Aristotle in the 3rd century BCE were particularly important in further developing this theory. Aristotle concluded that the Earth must be round because the Earth casts a round shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse. Also, he observed that the positions of stars in the night sky would drastically change depending on location. There were certain stars that could be observed in Egypt that could not be observed further north in Cyprus. This could only be true if the Earth's surface was curved. Then along came a fellow called Eratosthenes, who proved that the Earth was curved using a stick, a well, and simply observing the shadows. He noticed how a well in the ancient town of Syene during the summer solstice would be completely illuminated by the sun at noon, leaving no shadow in the well, as the sun was directly overhead. Eratosthenes took note of this phenomenon and went to Alexandria to conduct a similar experiment. He placed a stick in the ground and observed the shadow, again at noon during the summer solstice. He noticed that unlike in Syene, where there was no shadow, the stick had in fact cast a shadow in Alexandria. The only explanation for this was that the distance between the two cities ran along the curvature of the Earth. Eratosthenes then used this measurement to calculate the circumference of the Earth, being surprisingly accurate for his time. Some ancient people may have known the shape of the Earth even earlier than the time of the Greeks. Looking at a sailboat going over the horizon, we can see that the bottom of the ship disappears first, until the whole ship goes over the horizon and can no longer be seen. Thus, it is likely that many experienced seafarers or navigators observed this phenomena and independently concluded that the Earth's surface must be curved. Given this fact, we will never truly know the first individual to come to this conclusion. If the theory of the Earth being a globe could be proven more than 2,000 years ago, why do some people, even to this day, still believe that the Earth is flat and that it's all some sort of giant cover-up? Well, since the first conclusive evidence was published in ancient Greece, the knowledge that the Earth is a globe has been gradually accepted as fact over time. In the modern day, it would be ridiculous to claim otherwise with the overwhelming evidence that we have of the Earth's shape. This, of course, hasn't stopped a fringe group of people from believing in the conspiracy that the Earth is flat. I think that the moral of this story is that there will always be people who believe in crazy ideas or conspiracies. And while it may be fun to point and laugh at these kinds of people, we should have compassion in remembering that these people have been the victims of misinformation.